What's up, everybody? This is part 2 of my interview of how I started out in the rock world, how I used to rock. Like I said, I started out, my sister was rocking first with a touch of rock, and I can remember her coming into the house all tired and sweaty, and I'm like, what's the matter? So she said that, oh man, I was battling this group called Dynasty. I was like, oh, Dynasty, okay. So, you know, I was like, wow, Dynasty, I wonder who's Dynasty. So that's how I really kind of got started in rocking. And so what happened was, when they wouldn't let me in Touch of Rock Jr., I started checking Dynasty out. I was like, wow, who's these Dynasty dudes? They must be really, really good. So I remember when I went to a park in 75, PS 75, first I seen Cuz. He was rocking, man. He was battling like 3 guys at one time, and he was just going off on them. I was like, wow, man, that guy's good. So then next thing you know, I seen Manny and Carlos, and I'm like, who are these guys? So somebody told me, oh, that's Manny and Carlos, the leaders of the Dynasty. I said, wow, these guys are good. And they taking on 2, 3 guys at one time. But back then, if you good, you could take 2, 3 guys on at one time. It was no problem. So when I finally joined Junior Dynasty, me and my sister, we used to go at it. You know, at home, we was like, you know, we sit down and eat our food at the table, and then go back out on the street, and it was war. You know, and people used to say to her, how could your brother do that to you? I can't believe it. You know, how could your brother do that? You know, he's with the enemy. The enemy is Dynasty. You know, but hey, that's the way it was. You know, that's the way it was back then. And you know, we used to just battle each other. You know, not me and her, but I battled Junior Dynasty. I remember I was battling this guy named Raul from Touch of Rock Jr. And next thing you know, I'm battling, I'm doing my thing, boom, bah. Then before you know it, here come 2 more Junior Touch of Rocks in the park. I'm like, oh man, what I'm gonna do? I'm by myself. Then next thing you know, I turn around, boom, The next thing you know, 4 more coming in the park. So I was like, oh man, I was like, what I'm gonna do? So, you know, I'm rocking, I'm doing my thing, nervous. Then I turn to the side, I see Danny Boy and Tony. So I was like, wow, I felt a little better. I said, yeah, you know what, I'm not gonna let these guys embarrass me in front of, you know, Tony and Danny Boy. So I'm doing my thing, I'm dancing, and before you know it, here come the rest of Junior Dynasty, you know. And that's just the way it was back then. We used to battle each other in the park for shirts or for whatever. I remember a couple of times I would battle an unknown, not really unknown, a less known rock group. And I mean, you know, so we would dance against each other, and you know, like the leader of the group would say, yo, listen man, I'm starting a junior, you wanna be the head of it? But you know, I would never do that, because I know that you can't betray. I would never betray Dynasty like that. You know, and besides, I mean, even though I was good, please, you know, the Touch of Rock Junior and Dynasty Junior leaders and some of the group members would, you know, I couldn't deal with them. You know, they was too much for me. You know, I remember plenty of times I would battle the juniors in another group, and they would say, hey, come join my group. But, you know, if you knew better, you knew that Dynasty and Touch of Rock is where you had to be, or Disco Rockers, or Rock with Class. You know, those were the 4. First it was Dynasty, then it was either Dynasty or Touch of Rock. Then the second tier was Disco Rockers and Touch of Class. You know, but my Dynasty and Touch of Rock used to always go back and forth. You know, and you know, that's just the way it was back then. And everything started from rocking. You know, if you look, you hear people say, rock the house, or yo, that jam is rocking, or rock steady crew. Everything comes back from that time. You know, I mean, back then we had the DJ first, The dancers came next, and then the rappers. You know, the rappers was later on. You know, people used to grab the mic, you know, and just try to entertain. But now it's different. Now you got the rappers first, the DJs second, which DJs don't get that much play, and then you got the dancers. The dancers don't get no props at all, you know. But I don't know who, you know, because there's an argument whether Brooklyn started first or whether the Bronx started it first, as far as the DJing and the rapping. But I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that dancing, Brooklyn was started it all. You know, the Bronx had theirs a little later. We started it all. You know, later on they call it b-boying. You know, we call it rocking. You know, they changed the name a little later. They called it up rocking. But you know, that's the way it was. You know, we started off. You had great, man. You had people like Danny Boy. You had Carlos. You had Manny. You had Tony. You had Tiny. God bless the dead. You had Chino. You know, you had all these people, and they was like movie stars. They was like superstars, man. They was idols, man. They was out there. You know, they were stars. You know, what they did was amazing. Then you had freestylers, you know, back then, which was probably majority black at the time. Freestylers, you know, they would. You had Don, and you had his brother Gaga. I battled though. I used to battle them because I remember back then we used to battle. And the one thing you don't do when you battle is touch somebody. If you hit somebody, that could cause a fight. And you never turn your back. You never really give nobody your back for too long, because if you give them your back, they can do all kinds of stuff. I see rappers. I see a lot of rockers rocking, and I see them turn their back. You never do that. When you rock, you never turn your back, because when you turn your back, you give your opponent the opportunity to do anything when your back is turned. That's something that you don't do. And you know, back then we was more of dancing. I mean, you did this and you did this, but it was more of style. Your style. What kind of style you got? What kind of, you know, finesse you got? You know. But you know, I mean, you know, just keeping it real, just telling how the story should be told, my knowledge of rocking, and what, you know, my contribution and what all our contributions was, you know. That's it. Peace.